Minasan konnichiwa. Welcome to the Kimi Kato Show, where we explore the vibrant world of Japanese pop culture, your go-to source of all things culture. That's the Kimi Kato Show. We've got entertainment. We dive into the colorful realms of Japan's music, its anime, fashion, film, and cuisine. And I'm Jeremiah. I am Kimi's co-host here on the show every single week. And here he is, your host, Kimi Kato.
Hello, hello. Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
Kimmy.
Hi. Hi, Jeremiah. How are you this
Hi.
week?
I am terrific.
Excellent.
Just got off a show, the Mike Gormley show. Our
Oh, wonderful.
Mike
Wonderful.
Gormley, our partner and our family member here on the podcast network that we've got going, Kimmy.
Yes, indeed. Yes. What was the show about?
So he had, the Bengals,
Yeah, of course. It's
the
one of
big
my,
band.
yeah, one of my bands that I really like. I even had a poster of the Bangles in my bedroom when I
I
was in
think
the UK,
I
in
think
London,
I've
in my
heard you
bedroom.
mention
Yes.
that. Yeah, you had a poster.
I
I
had a
remember
big
that.
poster, yeah, alongside my favorite Guns N' Roses poster. So I had two major big poster in my bedroom.
So this is
One
the
was,
dorm room
no,
that you
this was
live.
my bedroom at home in Wembley,
Ah.
London,
See, I'm
UK.
learning a little bit more about you every time. Well, so we had on Mike had today Jennifer Otter. I'm gonna probably mispronounce her last name. It's a fun one, Bickerdike.
Oh yeah, Bickerdike, yeah.
Bickerdike. Jennifer is like the go-to author for rock memoirs. She just put out a book called The Authorized Biography of the Bangles. It's called Eternal Flame off the
Yeah.
song. Yeah, that's a
Cool. Close
great
your
song.
eyes. Yep. I
Yeah,
love that song.
I do too.
Brings back memories, but yes, I remember it. It was they were huge back then when I was growing up in the 80s.
Did you know our good friend Mike Gormley was their manager for many, many years?
I did not know that. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah. It's
I
funny
didn't know that. What?
how our paths have crossed after all these years. And if he'd love to hear that story that you had a Bengals poster
A massive
in your
one.
room.
Unfortunately, I
Massive.
did. Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go see them live, but it was a great. They were amazing, and they were massive in the UK as well. And the Eternal Flames really massive too.
Yeah.
Um,
Walk Like an Egyptian.
yeah, yeah, I
We
remember that.
played the great soundtrack that Jen gave us, Jennifer gave us. It includes, is it going down to Liverpool, one of
Uh-huh.
their hits. Walk Like an Egyptian, Hazy Shade of Winter. I love
Oh
good
yes,
music.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They were brilliant. They were so good, and I really, and back then I was playing the bass, so I would be able to play the bass lines, and I would have Bangles poster. As you walk in, the right side was Bangles poster, and left side was a massive Guns N' Roses poster. Mm.
Okay, I get Guns N' Roses and I get the Bangles too, but why the Bengals? Why did you have
I
you
don't.
you chose two bands that kind of
Uh,
represented you in your room? What did that poster do for you? Did it bring was it the music that you loved and their attitude, their look? What was
yeah,
it that
it
you were
was there
attracted
was
to?
it was it was as a whole in the entirety of that band. Um, the fact that they wrote great music was definitely one thing that really struck me, and their attitude. I think
Mhm.
they were I think one of the first female rock bands like back then for me, anyways. Like in the
Mhm.
80s, I'm come to think of it, there might have been other rock band like female rock bands, but it was new growing up for me, looking encountering an entire female rock band. And I obviously did have other music or other musicians, rock bands that I really liked, but I happened to get hold of one. That's
You
another thing,
chose.
I happened to get hold of a massive Bangles poster, and I happened to get hold of a massive Guns N' Roses poster, and they were huge, both huge. Like you
When you
wouldn't
say massive, what is massive? How large is
like. Well, it basically took up the entire bottom to top.
Oh, wow.
Like
That is
so
massive.
it was a poster that was huge from the bottom of the floor to the ceiling. So and you couldn't really get those. And I just happened to be able to get hold of them.
You know what I
And
think's interesting? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. So Bangles was one. And I didn't really buy posters back then. And I got hold of it. From my one friend gave one to me, another friend gave one to me, and these posters they were, and because I liked both bands, Small Guns N' Roses was definitely my favorite. I can still be proud to say that I'm still a Guns N' Roses fan, but I'm also a very true Bangles fan. Unfortunately, though, I hadn't been able to see them live. If I can, I would love to go see
Yeah.
if they're doing if they're performing still.
Well, I know Vicky Peterson's on tour. She was on Mike's show, the Mike Gormley show, a couple months ago.
Amazing.
I know they're on tour. They've got a new album out right now. I don't know if the Bengals, that would be a fun tour to see.
Yeah.
You know what I think's interesting about the posters, the two posters that you chose to hang in your room?
Yeah.
Maybe because they were given to you, but also you put them up so you
Oh
like
yeah.
them. And it's interesting to me, kind of thinking about the Kimi Kato of today, the guy that I know. I mean, you've made your career about branding and marketing and promoting music artists, and here you are as a young man before this amazing career you've had. I wonder if those posters somehow imprinted um, in your mind a little bit, like image, how to package a music artist. I wonder. It's
Well,
interesting. You're staring at them hour after hour in days in your room. I wonder if some
years.
way for years.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Yeah.
they was there anything about them that kind of that came into the way you visualize
I
artists
think
and
it
the way.
did. I think it did because I loved music and I was in a band. I started to learn guitar first, and then I went into to playing the bass. I was playing the bass as much as I can, whenever I can. So when at home, I would play the entire Guns N' Roses Appetite for Destruction album from top to bottom, from the beginning to the end, playing the bass on my amp along with the with the songs. So I was able to play the entire show. I think it was over 60 minutes, but from Welcome to the Jungle to the Rocket Queen, I would just go from the beginning to the end,
Could
non-stop.
you could you still do that?
I could probably do it.
I
It's probably I would know the songs in order, and I would play it, and I would look at the poster, and I would dream about becoming a rock star, like Daft Rose McKagan, Slash. And I love them
Mhm.
both. I think Slash is one of my favorite guitarists. He is one of the best guitarists, not just because of his technique. His technique is impeccable, but there are lots of super guitar players like who are fast and very detailed and technically superb, like pinnacle. But what's amazing about Slash is his solos are so melodic, that it's almost like somebody singing. And and you can tell his solos are so melodious and soulful that
Mm.
no other can copy or do the same. I mean, I can talk about Slash's guitar solos forever. I just
You
love his
got you
guitar
got
solos.
an opportunity to work with
Uh,
him, right?
yes, I did. So because I like Guns N' Roses so much, fast forward from my bedroom, I obviously didn't end up playing in a band. I left. I went back to Japan to study Japanese, go to college in Japan. But uh, and I even ended up working for a bank for a couple of years in the financial sector. But then that's when the turning point came when I had to go back to music. It's like my life have to be with music. If I'm gonna put everything, like my soul, my heart, and everything, like my time and passion. If you're working, and if you're gonna earn money, you have to be passionate. You have to be genuine and real, true to yourself. Otherwise, you're not gonna go nowhere. And that's when I realized I'm not gonna work for money. I'm gonna work for what I want to do. So I went. into music industry. I started as sales, whatever, and then I became a product manager, head of label. But then the time came because I was at Universal and Guns N' Roses was signed to Geffen back then. They had all the catalog, so I came across this manager that was not managing Slash back then, but managed another band called Meatloaf, and then got to meet I got to meet Slash through that manager, who then became the manager of Slash, and he said, "Do you want to release his music?" So Slash wasn't signed to Universal anymore, but I signed Slash for Japan at Universal, just for
Wow.
Japan, for the market of Japan. So we were looking after Slash in Japan, and that was like my dream come true from when I was 16. Ha. So, like I couldn't believe that I was now working with Slash and I was meeting him. I was going to his recordings, I would go see him. He would come to Japan to do promo and he would do shows in Japan. I was working with him in Japan and it was like, wow, what am I doing? What am I doing here with Slash? And he's such a nice guy. Um, he went through a lot of turmoil with himself, health-wise, but he was really well, and he played the guitar as good as he did back then. And so, that kind of thing that's happened quite a few times with me. But working with bands like I was a product manager for Bon Jovi, for instance, and I was listening to Slippery When Wet when I was 13 at school.
Mhm.
So I then couldn't believe that I was now working with Bon Jovi and the band, the entire band, touring with them across Japan, like the stadium tours, the 5 stadium tours with Bon Jovi, releasing their records and touring and promoting their music in Japan. These things, I don't know. I mean, I can't believe I was so blessed. What can I say? I
You
was
you
at
think it's
words.
your passion, that love for music that got you there?
Oh yeah, definitely,
Like
definitely.
you
That's
got there
It has to
for
be that.
yeah, you just blazed, you just made it happen.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
you had to be right
I
there.
definitely blazed. I was like a bulldozer in terms of working my bands, and I would work hard, but I would work the bands as well. The band, I worked them to the ground, and they'd hate me sometimes for working them so hard. But
Well,
yeah,
anybody I've talked to band wise, like Hoobastank was on a few months ago.
yeah.
And they just love you. They
Well,
remember you. They
yeah,
love working with you. So you may have worked them hard, but you guys got
yeah.
results. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the listeners know you because you do not talk about yourself very much, Kimmy, but I'll brag for you. Some of the artists that you've worked for, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, Hoobastank, you said Bon Jovi, um, Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber. I mean, these are the biggest names in the business right now. And so,
Very honored to have worked with them.
but
Very.
there's a reason you made it that far. I mean, I'd love to
I was lucky.
analyze it. Well, I think it's more, yeah, luck probably plays a little bit, but a lot of hard work. I mean,
But yeah, I mean, these top artists, what there are traits, and I realize, they're very talented, of course. There are talented people. There may be more talented people than the names that you mentioned. But one thing, they work very, very hard. They work hard, and like they are, they know what they want to get. They know where they are, and they stay there because they are true to themselves and they work very hard. It's
mhm,
not like uh, uh, it's obviously there's a lot to do with luck, but they know how to build teams. And I've seen them, the teams that they work with. It's not just the artists at the front, but behind the team behind them, the
right.
team that work along with them. They are strong, and that's when you have hits like and they know how to build that right team to 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 become the biggest stars of the world. But
Mm.
I've come to realize that a long time ago, and how important not just yourself but for the others. They work truly to themselves, but for the others as well, and just continue to thrive because they work super hard. It's
When
incredible.
you sit down in front of a star that somebody that you've admired all your life, and now you're responsible for helping them with their branding, with their marketing, with getting promoted in Japan or here in the States. What is that like? That feeling that now they're listening to me give them advice, and I've got to come up with a plan for them. Is that seems like it'd be very intimidating, but very exciting. Is it like,
But
are you just like on the edge, just just you
it's
come prepared, you know it, you kind of know it in your gut what you can do for them?
I never tell them I'd listened to their music growing up, or I never tell them that I love them. I never
You don't
show
show
it.
those cards.
I never show that. Oh, I try not to. Like recently, I've worked with Yoshiki, who's one of the biggest rock star in Japan, from ex-Japan. I I've been listening to his or their music since I was what 13 maybe 13, 14, something like that. I was an early teenager. I thought they were super amazing, superb musicianship as well as the songs were amazing. It was all written by Yoshiki. And it was incredible. He's a superstar. He's so talented. I think he's like the Japanese version of Mozart in the rock scene. And I hadn't told him that. And I haven't told him that I've listened to his music growing up. I still own that cassette tape. I went back to Japan last year and I found that cassette tape to prove that I
Wow.
still own it. But
What'd you do with it?
I didn't show it. No, I still have it. I
Is
don't
it
have a
home in
cassette tape.
Japan or did you bring it home?
Oh no, I left it in Japan.
LA. Listen to
Yeah, I left it. So those kind of things. Yeah, I won't tell the artist.
Why don't you tell them? Do you think that would
Uh,
disqualify you or discredit
No,
you in some way?
no,
The way they the way they look at you?
I
That
think I want to
maybe,
just be professional because it's not
yeah,
about liking them. It's
right.
more about what am I focused on? This is the strategy. What is the strategy for this part of his life or her life, right?
Hmm.
It's not about the legacy. Yes, it's very important about what they've done in the past, which has led to where they are now. And I was part of it as a fan. So I would be able to put in a lot more input because I know how the fans will react and because I was a fan. And I think that's also important in being able to be confident in saying or presenting or suggesting to the artists if I've been a fan and I know that I can say confidently that this is the right way to go and this
Mm,
is what we should do.
that makes
Uh,
sense.
so I'm usually very confident in what I mention to the artist, because I'm committed, and when the artist commits to what I present or what I suggest, I have to deliver, right? So that's probably how I got to where I am, and it's just been fun. It's to do with working with great people, and I very much appreciate every moment, and appreciate every moment, including this time with you, Jeremiah. This
No,
moment with you.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kimmy. I feel the same way. I love these conversations. I like to get to know you a little bit more here on the show. We get to catch up once a week, and I look forward to that every single week. I'm
We
amazed.
probably yes.
I think I'm like you. I really love music, and I soak up as much as I can. I listen as much as I can. I love discovering new artists that I wasn't aware of. But I'm also a huge movie buff and television. I'm watching, pop culture constantly, and because of this show, I have become, and my relationship with you and friendship with you, I've become it's almost like my antennas opened up and I'm receiving and seeing so much of the Japanese culture or Asian culture that I didn't know and now I'm aware of and I can connect dots. So I really look forward to this every week. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I love this dynamic and this friendship and I thank you for the education.
Oh no,
So
thank you for
I want to know what we're going to talk about. I think we're talking about music today. It feels that way. It feels like we're
yes.
talking music.
Oh yes.
Um,
I think we better be taking a break, but
yeah,
before
we
we
should. But
do take
I have one last question before we
yes,
do.
sir.
and then
Yes,
you
go
can
ahead.
set up what we're talking about. Um, do you still have those two posters? You have the Yoshiki cassette tape. Did you find the posters?
Damn, I don't think so.
No,
But I
we
own the
lost
C
them.
but I still have the CDs. I still have the CDs. So for Guns N' Roses, it was the first time I've switched from that was the time. I think it was like 1986, when
Yeah,
people were starting to switch to CDs, right? Compact disc, as they say. It was we all used to own vinyl records, and it was how we listened to music. We would listen to vinyls, but if we were gonna on the go, we would record it. We would record it onto a cassette tape, and I'd have Walkman for me to then carry the music around. But then came the CD. How amazing was that? It was like, wow, technology for us. I mean, we there was no streaming. You had to
yeah.
still buy
There
music.
was no iPhones
No
or
iPhone,
no.
and the way you had to listen to music was through a vinyl or a cassette tape. Now, and with cassette tape, you had to fast forward or rewind to get to the song you want to get to or listen to, or you listen to the entire cassette and then flip it over after halfway to listen to the other half of the album. But then came the CD, the advancement of technology. We were shocked. We were like amazed how music could fit in this disc. And Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction was my first CD that I bought, along with I
Your
think
very first CD.
yeah, and along with Madonna's what was that? What was the album? Um, oh gosh, it was the album. Oh, not La Isla Bonita because it was that was I had it on.
Was it around 86?
Yeah. When you call my name, it's like a little. That's the song. That was the song.
Was that like a Virgin album?
No, no, it was. I had that on vinyl. Um, what was that album?
I'm looking
Um,
on Madonna's albums. True Blue,
no, it was after that.
Open Your Heart,
No,
Papa Don't Preach.
no, that was early. That was early. Later, much later.
1986 was night. It says here 1986. Papa Don't Preach, Open Your Heart,
What was
True
that
Blue.
before? Or maybe it was Papa Don't. No, it was something like that.
Um, oh, was it the Blue album?
I can't remember, but
True Blue.
I did have a Madonna album. That was the two albums that I bought. That was the first
Now I want to
compact
know.
display. Let me find
Okay,
out.
so there was Madonna, and there was Like a Virgin, then there was True Blue, then
Mhm.
Like a Prayer.
Like a prayer, right, like a prayer. That's it.
You
That's it.
got it.
That's the one.
You got
What
it.
year
So
was that?
that was
It's got to be.
released in March 21st, 1989. The year I
Oh,
graduated. I
oh,
graduated
so
from high school then.
maybe it was 1989 that I bought the CD player. Maybe
I remember Guns N' Roses.
it was
When?
86 though,
Yeah.
something like that. It was the first album, Appetite. So I didn't. I probably had it on record on vinyl first, and then got my CD then. Um,
Those were good times. And that Guns N' Roses album, I think everybody's got an album like that in their life. I think Nirvana's album was something similar to that. But for
ooh,
me, Guns N' Roses, that album, The Appetite for Destruction, you heard it everywhere. It was, you're driving around, your windows down as a teenager. Everybody's got it on their in their cars or cruising. It's at the parties, it's at the dances, but it was just one of those albums you just played over and over, and it became ingrained into your memory and your vision and your life and your breath, everything at that time. You know what I'm talking about when you've got
yep,
an album that almost becomes one with you.
yes,
Um,
that was
that was that
Appetite for
album, right?
yep,
I mean,
Appetite for
yeah.
sure. Oh my goodness, I would listen to every single note of the bass line. I would pick it up, I'd listen to it, and I'll copy it, and I'll play it on the bass.
Did you get to play with Slash at one point?
N-
Did you tell me that?
No, I
No.
didn't play with
I,
Slash. No.
I thought you
I
got
wish,
a
I wish.
chance to.
But so the Slash then left, well, the band left, and then they separated, and I went to see Axel at his Guns N' Roses band, and it was different, you know. Without
Mm,
Slash, it wasn't that sound. It wasn't that Gibson sound, even though
yeah.
it probably was Gibson. I don't know, but um, you know, when Slash plays his guitar, it's a cry. It's a, you know, it's like someone crying, and that is something that you can't replicate, and that's when I
It's,
became even more of a fan of Slash.
I know what you mean. It's like there's a few musicians like that that can, you almost feel like you're hearing their soul, right?
Hmm.
You're
Hmm.
hearing their heart because they can bring that pain or that joy or whatever it is out in their instrument or
Hmm.
their
Hmm.
vocal.
Definitely for Slash, but because I was a bassist, I then I was I was admiring Duff Rose McKagan, and he was also one of my favorite bassists because he had such a melodious bass line, and he had his own style of playing the bass, which I became a fan of. I mean, I would have that kind of hook when I would play my bass. He had his own style, and I kind of copied his style.
Mhm.
So, uh, you know, when I was at Universal, I got to work with Slash, but I also got to then work with Duff Rose McKagan solo album as well. And I got to meet him, which was amazing also. I flew to LA. We had lunch together at the restaurant on Sunset. I can't remember the name, and I'm sure that some of the listeners have been to that restaurant. He took me to the restaurant where they all hanged out to have like drinks and eat.
Was it Barfly?
I can't remember. I can't remember the
The
name, but
Troubadour? They were
no, no,
always in
it wasn't. It
Troubadour.
wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was on Sunset. It was a restaurant. I had lunch, and he told me we used to hang out together. We just lived across the street, like just across the street, not
Yeah.
across the streets, but close to here. And they would just hang out around that area, and they would record. And after recording, they would hang out and eat at this restaurant. And I was like, wow. And he would he would tell me about stories about back in the day when they were recording Appetite for Destruction. It was epic. You know, I was in awe. Um, I mean,
You know
maybe,
what's,
yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say what's very, very cool about this, and you should probably check this out if you haven't done it. We on Mike Gormley's show, he had uh what's her Vicky Hamilton. Do you know her? She's a Grammy award-winning music executive. Guns N' Roses was her band, and then they signed to Geffen. They slept. They lived on Sunset. She told the
Hmm.
story in the interview. They lived at Vicky Hamilton's house on her couch, on her floor in a one bedroom while they did that album, while they did Appetite for Destruction. And Vicky was their manager at that time. And then they got a better deal at Geffen, and and she was a little bit bitter about it. But they all lived, slept. They would go out every night and come back and crash on her couch. She said it was just the dirtiest one
Yeah, I'm
bedroom
sure.
apartment. It's probably the apartment that Duff was telling you about.
Yeah,
Because it
yes,
was
you
right, she
told
says,
me.
right there by Tower Records, right on Sunset,
Yeah, somewhere around there.
her
Yeah,
apartment.
well, I mean, that was such a memorable moment for me. You know, be a kid just loved and be was able to play the entire, Appetite for Destruction album from from the from the beginning to the end, and I was now sitting in front of him. I mean, if I could go back in time and tell the kid that was listening to and playing to Guns N' Roses songs, I was telling him like, you're gonna meet them, and you'd be working with them. Now that probably would have changed my life. I would have probably said, I'm gonna play with them, and that would have encouraged me to continue to play music instead of working behind the scenes. Because my ultimate dream was back then, and if I could go back and do everything again, I would love to be able to
Couldn't you
spend.
do it now though, Kimmy, off the side?
Oh no,
Play with it. Why
no,
not?
I mean, yes, I can do it for fun,
Good. You're now
but
you know the
that's
business and you know how to navigate it. You could
no,
probably move
like,
yourself up quickly.
you know,
Well, I'd love to hear you play guitar one day. So one day, maybe at a party or something, that we can get you to play the guitar
yeah, I
for.
used to play guitar on the underground, like the tube underground. So me and my friend at school, so because we were in a boarding school, we would
You were
sneak out.
buskers.
Yeah, we used to sneak out from school. I can say this now because I've left school like what, 30 years ago. Um,
You're not gonna get in trouble.
but no, but we used to hide behind the hedges with our guitars. How subtle was that? And wait for the bus to come, dash towards the bus stop across the street, right in time because there was nowhere to hide where we had, where the bus stop was. So we had to hide across the street.
Who are you hiding from? Your parents?
Well, teachers,
Teachers.
because yeah, because we were at school.
Oh, okay. I got
Yeah,
it.
we
I
were
thought you were
I was in a
going to
boarding school.
school.
No, no, I was in a boarding school. So, we lived, slept, and ate at school for the entire week, and we get to go home on the weekends. But so during the week, when I didn't have sports or anything or extracurricular activities, we would decide okay, let's go out to the city of London. We weren't that far. We were like 45 minutes or something, like an hour from school. It was in Mill Hill. So we would take the bus, 2:40 bus, to Mill Hill East Station. Then we would go down to Piccadilly Circus
Hmm.
and we would always hang at the Piccadilly Circus station, Bakerloo line, air, the bottom of the escalator of the Bakerloo line, and we'd busk. And people would pay, and I was like,
Did they throw some
they
money in
did,
your
yes,
can?
they did, yes, they did. And we would play cover songs, mostly cover songs. We didn't play maybe a few of our own songs, but we'd had two guitars, acoustic guitars. My drummer at that time, he also was a great singer. He's still in a band actually. Right now, he came to tour the US the other day. He's still in a band, and he used to sing well, so we had two guitars, two acoustic guitars, and just play songs after songs. We played all the Guns N' Roses acoustic songs, various others like Mrs. Robinson or Stand By Me, all the hits,
Yeah.
the usual hit songs as well as Guns N' Roses songs. And we'd have a blast. We'd sing like an hour and a half, and we've even toured Europe doing that because we got used to doing it so much, playing in front of people. We then toured on when we were graduating high school, or I think it was when we graduated high school, around that time, anyways. We traveled. Oh, it was back then. There was no tunnel, Euro tunnel. We went on a ferry from Dover to Calais, and then went through Belgium, Antwerp, Hamburg. You took the Euro rail across Europe, up from France, Belgium, Germany, through Germany to Denmark, Copenhagen, and then went to Sweden, and then I flew back to London. That was such an amazing. We just
I
busked
love,
everywhere.
I
We just
love it. That
busked.
must have
Yeah,
been such an
it was
adventure.
a blast. It was a blast. So
Beyond
we would,
rock and roll.
yeah, we would earn enough money to have a beer that evening. Yeah,
Well, hey, that's probably that beer probably was the best tasting beer you ever had
yeah. I know
after that.
it was such a
Okay,
blast.
so Kimi Kato Tour 2026. Yeah, let's do
Across the United
it.
States, no one would
Yeah,
listen. They'll say
I'll
like,
carry your guitar.
no one will
Okay.
listen because it would be in the desert and nobody would be there.
All
It's
right.
like,
Coffee shops. I'll carry your guitar in the can for the money, and we'll hop trains and uh,
oh,
and we do all the full appetite destruction album from beginning to end. That can you can do that. I'll be I'll be in the crowd for sure. All
okay,
right,
one person in the
we
crowd.
probably better take a break, huh?
Okay.
This has been too much fun. What are we talking about today, Kimmy?
So, do you think we should just end this show? And
No, I mean, how long have we been talking? I haven't even
well,
watched
we
it.
34 minutes now.
34 minutes. Well,
We should probably talk about you now. How did you get into the food business?
we should take a break, I think.
Okay, we can take a break.
Take a break. All right.
Okay.
Taking a break. Do you want to mention who
Oh,
we're listening to?
so if we're gonna take a break, hold on, let's cut this for a bit. Because I don't think I'll be able to explain everything,
And
talk about
time?
it, because we've only got what, well, like 35 minutes is one show, no?
No, we've got we're at 36 minutes right now.
Yeah.
I love how we're doing the production right here on air. They get to see the behind the scenes, what happens here. If we're at 36 minutes, we could actually get two short segments and our goodbye.
Okay,
It doesn't have
okay.
to, we don't have to do your topic if it's too much to cover, but we could definitely let's break the show like it's
Okay.
normal for radio because this will air on the
Okay.
radio.
All right.
Okay, let's take a break. But who do you, let's promote your music. You got a great sound. This might be one of my favorite soundtracks you've ever put together.
Oh, cool. Well, you know why? Because it's the song that's been nominated for
Oh,
the inaugural Music Award Japan that's going to
I
be
know. I'm
held.
actually in the auditorium right now. I'm waiting for the show to start at the
Exactly.
Music Awards
See?
Japan.
Yeah, we were the opening act.
Yeah, we would have. They would have had what's that? Did they pull you off with
Yeah, they would
like
plug
the
off.
sheep herders?
Yeah, they
The sheep
plug off
herd.
the mic. They
They would
switch
have
off the
pulled
mic. I've
this.
seen that happen
They would
before
have
with
blinked the
artists.
lights, and the
No,
orchestra would have
they would
started.
just no, they would just pull the plug.
Our plug should have been pulled. Okay,
Oh yeah,
who are
long
set it
time
up? Who
ago.
are we
Okay,
listening to? And then we'll take the break.
so we're going out with one of the five songs that were nominated for the Song of the Year for the very first Music Award Japan. That's going to be held in Kyoto on May 21st and 22nd, and it is Idol by Yoasobi. And you're listening to the Kimi Kato Show with Jeremiah.